Hey there, curious minds, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the amazing world of biology, specifically cell theory and the functions of the tiny but mighty organelles that make up all living things. If you've ever wondered what's inside a cell or why it's so important to life on Earth, then stick around. We've got some cool stuff to talk about. First things first, let's break down what we mean by cells and why they're so essential to life. The cell is the basic unit of life, and it's found in all living organisms, from the tiniest bacteria to the tallest trees and the most complex humans. Now, before we dive into the inner workings of cells, we need to talk about cell theory. This is the foundation of modern biology, and it was developed in the 19th century. There are three main principles of cell theory that you need to know. All living things are made of cells. Whether it's a single-celled organism like an amoeba or a complex organism like a human, everything living is made up of cells. The cell is the basic unit of structure and function in living organisms. Every process in your body, from digesting food to thinking, happens at the cellular level. All cells come from pre-existing cells. Cells don't just magically appear, they divide to make new cells. This principle was first discovered by the German biologist Rudolf Virchow in the 1850s. Pretty cool, right? These three ideas form the cornerstone of how we understand life. Now let's look at the inside of a cell and explore its organelles, the little workers that keep everything running smoothly. Imagine your cell is like a tiny factory. Each organelle plays a specific role, working together to keep the cell alive and functioning. Let's meet the main players. First up, the nucleus. You can think of the nucleus as the cell's brain. It holds the cell's DNA, which contains all the instructions for how the cell should function. It's like the cell's instruction manual. Next, let's talk about the mitochondria, also known as the powerhouse of the cell. These little guys are responsible for producing energy. They convert nutrients into ATP, which is like the cell's battery. Without mitochondria, cells wouldn't have the energy they need to do their jobs. Then, we have the ribosomes. These tiny structures are like factories that make proteins. Proteins are essential for almost everything in the cell, from building structures to speeding up chemical reactions. Ribosomes can be floating freely in the cytoplasm or attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. Speaking of the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER, it comes in two types, rough and smooth. The rough ER has ribosomes on its surface and helps make proteins. The smooth ER doesn't have ribosomes and is involved in making lipids, fats, and detoxifying harmful substances. Let's talk about the Golgi apparatus, lysosomes and cell membrane. You know, the Golgi apparatus is like the cell's post office, but without the long lines and lost packages. It receives proteins from the rough ER, modifies them, and sends them to their final destination, whether inside or outside the cell. And lysosomes? They're like the cell's recycling center, but they never take a day off. They contain enzymes that break down waste materials, dead cell parts, and even foreign invaders like bacteria. Without lysosomes, cells would get overloaded with junk. As for the cell membrane, think of it as the bouncer at a club, only letting the right molecules in. It controls what enters and leaves the cell like a security guard at the entrance. It's made of a lipid bilayer that allows only certain substances to pass through. Now isn't that a fun way to remember these organelles? So, there you have it. Cells are incredibly complex, but they work together like a well-oiled machine. From the nucleus giving orders, to the mitochondria providing energy, and the ribosomes making proteins, each organelle plays a vital role in keeping the cell alive and healthy. Cell theory and the functions of organelles are the foundation of biology. Understanding how cells work is key to understanding how life works. If you learned something new today, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more science content. And let us know in the comments, what's your favorite organelle and why? Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious.